Black Ops 7 might be the best Call of Duty game we have gotten in years. And I know that might surprise a lot of you when I say that, but this game, it has the content, it has the actual fixes people have been asking for, and it has the developers listening to the community. So why does it feel like nobody cares about this game? I'm serious when I say this. I actually feel bad for Treyarch, because for the first time in a long time, this feels like a game that actually tried to fix the problems with Call of Duty, and somehow it backfired on them. Before Black Ops 7, it felt like the community wasn't being heard. That only really started to change when competition started to show up. Games like Battlefield 6 and Arc Raiders and other games started to eat into Activision's space. Now, whether those games can sustain long-term pressure is debatable, but their presence clearly changed something, because suddenly Activision gave Treyarch more control. Skill-based matchmaking got adjusted, lobby retention improved, and systems started aligning with players that they have been asking for probably over 5 years. But there still are some cracks to this game. The campaign, yeah, it's something. And honestly, this Reddit comment pretty much sums it all up. I'm enjoying the campaign loop and the new additions, but the story is just awful. It genuinely feels like AI wrote this. And yeah, it kind of feels like that, but outside of the story though, this game is super strong. Endgame, an extraction shooter similar to Tarkov, but fully PvE. It's actually a really fun mode. I've completed a lot of things that you can do in the game, and the basis of it is that you're upgrading your character to essentially be a super soldier. But I think they could do better with like PvP elements, something similar to how Arc Raiders does. If you avoid fights, you get put into calmer lobbies, and if you play aggressive, you get put in with similar players. Now, I know that's not what Treyarch was intending for this mode to be, but adding something like that could seriously boost player numbers, especially now that it is free alongside of Warzone. Multiplayer though, that is where things really change for this game. The community has been heard here in a big way. Doors gone, and yes, it was that big of a problem. And they even tried experimenting with automatic doors during the beta, and they still heard the community's sentiment that they don't like these doors. Skill-based matchmaking has also been toned down closer to the older Call of Duty games. Now, if you're still complaining, well, I'm still in these sweaty lobbies, there are two possibilities. Either you were being protected by that higher skill-based matchmaking, or the casual player base just isn't that big this year. Choose whichever makes you feel better, but overall the experience is much more varied. Some games you dominate, some games you get destroyed, and honestly that's how it used to be, you having that more varied experience between games. And I think the maps are just flat out better, especially not having the doors involved. I think the movement feels very smooth, especially with the wall jumps. It's not overly chaotic like how Boost Movement was, but it still feels fluid and satisfying. There's more I could go in, but overall, multiplayer has been a solid experience in my opinion. Zombies is where things get a little interesting. Mechanically, it is very similar to Black Ops 6, and that alone frustrates a lot of players. But it makes up for it with the map quality and content. And even maps like Paradox Junction, which on paper should have been terrible, ended up surprising a lot of people in my opinion, and from what I'm seeing on Twitter. Then you've got Relics with Cursed Mode, and for the hardcore zombies players, this has brought new life to zombies. It's not exactly the classic mode people were wanting, but I think it's a solid middle ground between that classic mode and the standard mode. And this is my opinion when I say this. I do hope for these next 3 maps they really lean into the more complicated aspects of zombies, because we already have pretty simple maps with the survival maps and also Paradox Junction, and also Ashes and Astra really don't break the boundaries all that much. But we shall see with the next map with Totenreich, which already looks amazing, which I will be streaming my first playthrough in Easter egg hunt on this channel, as well as my Twitch in the description, so if you want to follow along, there you go. And on top of that, you also have zombie battles, which is a, iteration of Grief. And you also have the first room challenges, which reward you if you reach a certain round. And across all modes, including Warzone, you have a mastery camo that you can grind for, and if you get all 4 of them across endgame multiplayer zombies and Warzone, you get a bonus mastery camo, which I think is awesome for the player. And similar to what Modern Warfare 3 did, they also have the weekly challenges and seemingly like weekly events for the player to do. And honestly, I think that's really good for the engagement for the player. So with all of this, endgame, multiplayer, Warzone, and zombies, why did this game fall flat? I think there are 3 main reasons. First one being Burnout. Back-to-back Black Ops releases. Even though these two games are very thematically different, they still feel repetitive to the player. Hearing the same IP over and over burns out the player even faster. Even though Activision said they won't repeat the same IPs back to back anymore, the bigger issue is with the release model itself. I think we need longer cycles. A 2-year release window with 2 years of support would be way healthier for the game, because right now recycling Black Ops and Modern Warfare games aren't hitting the same as they did 5 years ago, and honestly probably how they did 10 years ago. Hold up, 15 years ago, I lied. The second reason is the competition. For the first time in a long time, Call of Duty has real competition. Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Marathon, there's a ton of other games, and these games have forced Activision to loosen their control and allow change for the developers to do. And that's a good thing, but it also came too late. And reason number 3 is timing. This ties in a little bit with the competition. If you're gonna wait until competitors show up to start listening to your fans, people aren't going to suddenly treat you like a hero once you do that. Players are going to remember that they weren't being heard for the longest of times. And yes, sometimes it is the developers, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, Raven, whatever it is. But more recently, a lot of that has fell on Activision. Especially after the success of Warzone, they have started to play things safe instead of being more experimental. And with that being said, I do think Treyarch has been doing a better job with the community this year. They've communicated a lot more with their dev talks, they've explained their decisions, and they've set a better example for the other studios and what their communities want to see. And honestly, this kind of transparency matters. Even when players don't agree, they at least get to see the rationale behind why some of these decisions are made. Do I wish that this game flopped in terms of player count? No, but I think there are a smaller group of players that are going to really appreciate it that they stuck around for a game like this. And sometimes when you've been at the top for so long, like Call of Duty has been for so long, you need a wake-up call. So yeah, that's why Black Ops 7 flopped this year, but also I think there's things that Call of Duty can learn from it and hopefully improve going forward. And this is me personally saying this. If you haven't tried this game out yet, I would recommend you do so, because I think this game really has a lot to offer, especially with us being 3 seasons into the game. But I totally understand if you are pushed away from this game because of the bad reception that it has. And that's totally understandable. If you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you dropped a like, and if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.